The galaxy had many dangerous species. There were creatures that could kill with a single touch. There were beings that could survive in the cold of space itself. But nothing in all the known worlds was more feared than the Crethani. They stood 8 feet tall. Their bodies were covered in scales harder than steel. Their claws held venom that could kill most species in minutes. They had ruled their part of the galaxy for 10,000 years, and in all that time, they had never lost a war. They had never shown mercy. And they had never, not once, knelt before another species. Every child in the galaxy learned about the Crethani. They learned to fear them. They learned to run from them. And they learned that if a Crethani ever found them, there was nothing to do but pray for a quick death. Danny Cole knew all of this. Every human did. He sat in the pilot seat of his small cargo ship, the Wanderer, and watched the stars pass by. He was 34 years old. With tired eyes and rough hands. Before he became a cargo captain, he had been a combat medic. He had seen enough death to last several lifetimes. Now he just wanted to move goods from one station to another and live a quiet life. Katie Dunn sat beside him. She was his co-pilot and his oldest friend. They had grown up together on Earth, in a small town that no longer existed. She was good with engines, and better with a joke. Her red hair was tied back, and she was eating an apple while checking their route. Behind them, in the communications corner, sat Sam Vance. He was young, only 22, and still believed the universe was full of adventure. Danny liked him. He reminded Danny of himself before the war had broken all his dreams. The Wanderer was not a pretty ship. It was old and slow, and made strange sounds when it flew too fast. But it was home. Katie finished her apple and threw the core into the recycler. She looked at Danny and frowned. "You look worried," she said. "We are flying near the outer rim," Danny said. "Crethani territory is not far from here. We will be fine." "No Crethani cares about a little cargo ship," Danny nodded. But he did not feel better. Something felt wrong. He could not explain it. It was just a feeling in his chest. Like the universe was holding its breath. Then the signal came. Sam sat up straight in his chair. "Captain, I am picking up a distress call." "From where?" "An uncharted moon. About 2 hours away." Sam checked his screen again. "The signal is weak. It might be a ship crash." Katie shook her head. "Danny, that area is too close to Crethani space. We should not go there." She was right. Danny knew she was right. Any smart person would ignore the signal and keep flying. Any smart person would think about their own safety first. But Danny had never been very smart. "We are going," he said. Katie sighed. "I knew you would say that." 2 hours later, the Wanderer landed on a small gray moon. There was no air outside, so they wore their spacesuits. The surface was covered in rocks and dust, and in the distance, they could see the crashed ship. It was Crethani. Katie grabbed Danny's arm. "We need to leave. Right now. There might be survivors." "Danny, they are Crethani. They will kill us." "They might be hurt." "They are killers. It is what they do." Danny looked at the crashed ship. Smoke was rising from its broken hull. The metal was torn apart, and pieces were scattered across the ground. Whatever had happened, it had been violent. "I have to check," Danny said. "Stay here if you want." Katie cursed under her breath. "I am not letting you go alone." They walked toward the crash. Sam stayed with the Wanderer, ready to fly them away if things went bad. The moon was quiet. Too quiet. Danny could hear his own breathing inside his helmet. The ship was worse up close. Most of it was destroyed. Danny climbed through a hole in the side and looked around. There were bodies. Adult Crethani. Huge and terrifying even in death. Their scales were cracked. Their eyes were empty. Then he heard it. A small sound. A whimper. Danny followed the sound to the back of the ship. There, hidden under a piece of metal, was a Crethani child. She was small, maybe 4 feet tall. Her scales were light gray instead of the dark black of the adults. She was bleeding, and her leg was bent at a wrong angle. She saw Danny and screamed. It was a sound of pure fear. "Hey, hey," Danny said softly. He held up his hands to show he was not a threat. I am not going to hurt you. The child did not understand his words. She only saw an alien creature coming toward her. She lashed out with her claws, catching Danny across the arm. Even through his suit, the venom found its way into his blood. The pain was immediate. It burned like fire spreading through his veins. Katie ran to him. Danny, we have to go. The venom will kill you. Danny looked at the child. She was crying now, curled up into a ball. She was hurt and alone and scared. She was just a kid. We are taking her with us, Danny said. What? Danny, she just poisoned you. She is a child. She is scared. I am not leaving her here to die. Danny picked up the small Krithani. She fought him at first, but she was too weak. Her struggles became softer, and then she just held on to him, shaking with fear. They ran back to the Wanderer. Danny could feel the venom working through his body. His vision was getting blurry. His legs were getting weak. But he did not let go of the child. Sam opened the door and his eyes went wide. Is that a Krithani? Get us in the air, Katie shouted. Danny is poisoned. I need to treat him now. Danny fell to his knees inside the ship. The child rolled away from him, watching with huge, frightened eyes. He looked at her and tried to smile. You are going to be okay, he said. I promise. Then the venom took him, and everything went black. Katie caught him before he hit the floor. She looked at the Krithani child, then at Danny's pale face. They had just saved a Krithani. They had brought the enemy onto their ship, and now Danny might die because of it. She did not know if she should be proud of him or furious. Sam, full speed to the nearest medical station, she said. Katie, what do we do with her? Katie looked at the small alien. The child was watching them, still scared, still confused. But she was not attacking anymore. She was just waiting to see what would happen next. We keep her safe, Katie said. That is what Danny would want. The Wanderer flew into the dark of space, carrying a dying man and the daughter of the galaxy's most dangerous predator. And the universe held its breath. Danny woke up 3 days later. His body felt like it had been burned from the inside. Every muscle hurt. Every breath was painful. But he was alive. Katie had saved him with emergency medicine and a lot of luck. He opened his eyes and saw the ceiling of his small cabin. For a moment, he forgot what had happened. Then everything came back. The crash. The child. The venom. He sat up too fast and his head spun. Katie was there, pushing him back down. Easy. You almost died. Your body needs rest. The child, Danny said. The Krithani girl. Is she okay? Katie's face was hard to read. She is alive. Sam has been watching her. Is she hurt? Did you fix her leg? Danny, she is a Krithani. She almost killed you. She was scared. She did not mean to. Danny tried to stand again. This time Katie did not stop him. I need to see her. He walked slowly through the ship. His legs were weak, but they held him. He found Sam in the cargo bay, sitting on a box. Across from him, in the corner, was the Krithani child. She looked different now. Someone had cleaned the blood from her scales. Her leg was wrapped in bandages. She was watching Sam with careful eyes, like an animal trying to decide if something was a threat. When she saw Danny, she made a small sound. Not a scream this time. Something softer. Something like recognition. Danny sat down on the floor, a good distance away from her. He did not want to scare her. Hello, he said. Do you remember me? The child did not answer. She probably did not understand his language. My name is Danny. This is my ship. You are safe here. Sam looked worried. Captain, are you sure this is a good idea? She could attack again. She will not. Danny did not know why he was so certain. But he was. She is just a kid. A scared kid far from home. Over the next few days, things changed slowly. The child would not let anyone touch her at first. She ate the food they gave her, but only after watching them eat the same thing. She slept in the corner of the cargo bay, curled up into a tight ball, but she watched Danny. Wherever he went, her eyes followed him. She seemed confused by him. He was the creature who had saved her when he should have left her to die. He was the prey that had shown mercy to a predator. She did not understand it. Katie discovered who she was on the 5th day. She had been going through the data from the crashed ship, looking for any information that might help. When she found it, she went pale. "Danny, we have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "Her name is Sayla, and her father is Vorax, the Unbroken." The name hit Danny like a punch. Everyone knew Vorax. He was the supreme alpha of all the Crithani, the most powerful and feared Crithani alive. He had conquered 12 worlds. He had killed more enemies than anyone could count. His name was used to frighten children across the galaxy, and they had his daughter on their ship. She was on a solo hunting trial, Katie continued. It is some kind of Crithani tradition for young ones. Her ship was attacked by pirates. They thought she was dead. "Does anyone know she is alive?" Sam answered from his station. "I have been listening to Crithani communications. Vorax has sent out a message to the whole galaxy. He says whoever finds his daughter may claim any reward, but he is expecting to find her body, not her alive." Danny looked at the small Crithani sitting in the cargo bay. Sayla. She had a name now. She was not just a Crithani child. She was someone's daughter. Someone who was looking for her. "We need to take her home," Danny said. Katie grabbed his arm. "Are you crazy? If we fly into Crithani space, they will kill us before we can explain anything. If we do not take her home, she will never see her family again, and Vorax will think she is dead forever." "Danny, they are Crithani. They do not care about things like family. They only care about strength and killing." Danny looked at Sayla. She was watching them, her big eyes moving back and forth. She could not understand their words, but she could feel the tension. "She is a child," Danny said quietly. "She misses her father. Look at her, Katie. Really look." Katie looked. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she sighed. "You are going to get us all killed." "Maybe, but we are still doing it." They changed course toward Crithani space. It would take 2 weeks to get there. 2 weeks of flying through dangerous territory with the daughter of the galaxy's most feared predator on board. During those weeks, something strange happened. Sayla started to trust them. It began with small things. She stopped flinching when Danny came near. She let Katie change her bandages. She even started to make sounds that might have been attempts at human words. Danny spent hours with her every day. He could not speak her language, and she could not speak his. But they found other ways to communicate. He showed her pictures on his tablet. He taught her simple games. He told her stories, even though she could not understand them. She seemed to like the sound of his voice. One night, Katie found Sayla sitting next to Danny while he slept. The child was not touching him, just sitting close, watching over him. "I do not understand," Katie said to Sam later. "She is a Crithani. Her whole culture is about hunting and killing. Why does she care about him?" Sam shrugged. "Maybe kids are kids. No matter what species they are." On the 12th day, Sayla spoke her first human word. Danny was showing her how to play cards. It was a simple game, just matching colors. She was surprisingly good at it. When she won, Danny smiled and said, "Good job." Sayla looked at him for a moment. Then she opened her mouth and said, very carefully, "Good." Danny's heart nearly stopped. "Katie. Katie." She talked. Katie came running. "What? What did she say?" "She said good. She is learning to talk." Sayla looked between them, confused by their excitement. But when she saw Danny's smile, she smiled too. It was strange to see a Crithani smile. Their faces were not built for it. But she tried, and that was what mattered. Then the alarms went off. Sam's voice came over the speakers. "Captain, we have company. 6 ships just dropped out of hyperspace. They are surrounding us." Danny ran to the cockpit with Katie right behind him. On the screen, He could see the ships. They were not Crithani. They were pirates. The same kind of ship design that had attacked Sayla's shuttle. A voice came through the communication system. It was cold and cruel. Human vessel. We have been tracking you for 3 days. We know you have the Crithani child. Give her to us, and we will let you live. Quote. Danny looked at Katie. She looked back at him. What do we do? Sam asked, his voice shaking. Danny thought about Sayla. She was in the cargo bay, probably scared by the alarms. She had started to trust them. She had started to feel safe. He was not going to let these pirates take her. Katie, get Sayla and hide her in the emergency compartment. Sam, send out a distress signal on all frequencies. Danny, we cannot fight 6 ships. I know. Danny reached under his seat and pulled out an old gun. But I can slow them down. The first pirate ship attached to their hull. Danny could hear them cutting through the airlock. He stood in front of the door, gun in hand, and waited. The door burst open. Pirates poured in. And Danny Cole, cargo captain and former combat medic, began to fight for a little girl who was not even human. Danny shot the first pirate through the chest. The second one he hit with the butt of his gun, breaking the alien's jaw. The third and fourth came at him together. And he managed to wound one before they overwhelmed him. There were too many. He knew there would be too many. But every second he fought was another second for Katie to hide Sayla. Every moment he stood was a moment they could not reach the child. A pirate hit him in the head with something hard. Danny fell to his knees. Blood ran down his face. They kicked him again and again until he stopped moving. But he had given Katie enough time. The pirates searched the ship. They found Sam hiding in the engine room. They found food and cargo and medicine. But they did not find Sayla. Katie had hidden her in a secret compartment behind the walls. It was small and dark and meant for emergencies. Sayla was scared, but she stayed quiet. She understood somehow that being silent was important. The pirates dragged Danny and Sam onto their main ship. They thought Katie was dead. She had hidden herself too, pretending to be a body among the cargo. It was a trick she had learned long ago. In another life. In another war. The pirate flagship was huge and ugly. It was built from pieces of other ships, welded together without care. The halls smelled of blood and oil. Danny was barely conscious as they carried him through the corridors. They brought him to a large room. There, sitting on a chair made of bones, was the pirate captain. He was a Velkari, a species known for their cruelty. His skin was pale blue, and his eyes were completely black. His name was Driss, and he had been hunting Sayla since he first attacked her ship. A human, Driss said, looking at Danny with amusement. I did not expect humans to be involved in this. Danny said nothing. He could barely keep his eyes open. Driss stood and walked closer. We tracked the Crithani child's emergency signal. We thought she was dead on that moon. But then we detected your little ship, picking something up, something alive. He grabbed Danny's chin and forced him to look up. Where is she? I do not know what you are talking about. Driss smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. We will see. What followed was pain. The kind of pain that breaks most beings. Driss had his men hurt Danny in ways that would leave scars forever. They burned him. They cut him. They asked the same question. Over and over. Where is the Crithani child? And Danny, through blood and tears and agony, gave the same answer every time. I do not know. Sam was forced to watch. The young man was crying, begging them to stop. But Danny looked at him and shook his head slightly. Do not tell them anything. Sam understood. He bit his lip so hard it bled, but he stayed silent. Hours passed. Danny lost track of time. The pain became his whole world. But somewhere in the back of his mind, he held on to one thought. Sayla is safe. As long as I do not talk, Sayla is safe. Then Driss tried something different. He had his men bring in a small screen. On it was a live feed of the Wanderer. The pirates had left guards on the ship, still searching. We found something interesting, Driss said. A hidden compartment. There is something inside, but it is locked. We could break it open, but that might damage whatever is inside. He leaned close to Danny. Tell me the code, and I will make the pain stop. Danny's heart went cold. They had found her hiding place. They had not opened it yet, but they would. It was only a matter of time. Please, Danny said, and his voice was barely a whisper. She is just a child. She has nothing to do with this. Let her go. Driss laughed. A human? Begging for a Krithani? The same Krithani who have hunted your kind for centuries? How strange. How pathetic. He nodded to his men. Open the compartment. Carefully. The child is worth more alive. Danny tried to stand. Tried to fight. But his body would not obey him. He could only watch the screen as the pirates worked on the hidden door. Then a voice came from the corner of the room. Stop. Everyone turned. Standing in the doorway was Sayla. She had gotten out somehow. She had left her hiding place and come here, to the pirate ship. She had walked through the halls alone. A small Krithani child surrounded by enemies. Sayla, no, Danny said. Run. But Sayla did not run. She walked forward, her small body straight, her eyes fixed on Driss. I am Sayla, daughter of Vorax the Unbroken, she said. Her voice was clear, even though it shook slightly. I will go with you. I will not fight. But you must stop hurting him. Driss stared at her. Then he started to laugh. The child surrenders herself to save a human. This is remarkable. The great Krithani, reduced to caring about prey. He is not prey, Sayla said. He saved me. He protected me. He is. She searched for the right word in her language. He is worthy. Danny felt tears in his eyes. Not from the pain. From something else. This child, this Krithani child, had given herself up to save him. She had walked into enemy hands because she could not stand to watch him suffer anymore. Sayla, he said, you should not have done this. She looked at him with those big eyes. You did not leave me on the moon. I will not leave you now. Driss waved his hand. How touching. Take the child to a secure room. She is our prize now. He looked at Danny. And put this human in a cell. Let him die slowly from his wounds. It is more amusing that way. They dragged Danny away. The last thing he saw was Sayla, standing small and brave among the pirates. She was watching him, with an expression he could not read. They threw him in a dark cell. The door closed with a heavy sound. Danny lay on the cold floor, bleeding and broken. His body was giving up. He could feel death waiting for him, patient and quiet. But somewhere else on the ship, Katie was still alive. She had followed the pirates to their flagship. She had snuck aboard while everyone was focused on Danny and Sayla. Now she was hiding in the lower levels, planning. Sam was in a cell not far from Danny. He was wounded but alive. Katie found him first. Katie? Sam could not believe his eyes. How are you here? I followed you. I was not going to let you all die while I hid in the cargo. She worked on the lock of his cell. Can you walk? I think so. Good. We need to find Danny and Sayla. We need to get out of here. The captain is hurt badly. He might not be able to move. Katie's face was hard. Then we carry him. We are not leaving anyone behind. Sam looked at her. Katie, there are hundreds of pirates on this ship. How are we going to do this? She smiled, and it was not a kind smile. I was a soldier before I was a pilot, Sam. I know how to fight. They moved through the ship like ghosts. Katie had found weapons. She had found a map of the ship in a dead pirate's pocket. She knew where the cells were. She knew where Sayla was being kept, but time was running out. Danny was dying. Sayla was captured. And somewhere out there, Vorax the Unbroken was still searching for his daughter. The galaxy's strongest predator had no idea that his child was being saved not by warriors or hunters, but by 3 humans who refused to give up. Katie looked at Sam and nodded. It was time to fight. Katie moved through the pirate ship like a shadow. She had not forgotten her training. Years of flying cargo ships had made her soft in some ways, but the skills were still there. The way to walk without making sound, the way to watch for enemies around every corner, the way to kill quickly and quietly when there was no other choice. Sam followed behind her. He was scared, but he did not let it stop him. Danny had saved his life more times than he could count. Now, it was his turn to save Danny. They found Danny's cell first. The guard outside was asleep. Katie took care of him without waking him up permanently. She opened the door, and her heart nearly broke. Danny looked dead. He was lying in a pool of his own blood. His face was swollen. His body was covered in cuts and burns. Only the slight movement of his chest showed he was still alive. "Danny," Katie whispered, kneeling beside him. "Danny, can you hear me?" His eyes opened slowly. They were clouded with pain. "Katie? You should not be here. Shut up and let us help you." They lifted him between them. He groaned but did not scream. He was too weak to scream. Every step was torture for him. But he did not complain. He just kept moving. "Sayla," Danny said. "We have to get Sayla." "I know. We are going to her now." Sayla was being held in a room near the captain's quarters. There were 2 guards outside her door. Katie handed Danny to Sam and took out her knife. "Wait here." She dealt with the guards in seconds. When she opened the door, she found Sayla sitting in the corner of the room. The child looked up, and her eyes went wide. "Katie," she said. It was one of the human words she had learned. "Come on, little one. We are leaving." Sayla ran to her. Then she saw Danny, and she made a sound of pain. She had never seen anyone hurt so badly. She touched his face gently with her small claws, being careful not to scratch him. "Danny," she said. "Danny hurt." "I am okay," Danny lied. "We need to go." They moved as fast as they could. Katie led them through the ship, avoiding patrols, hiding in shadows. But they could not avoid everyone. Twice they had to fight. Sam took a wound to his arm during the 2nd fight, but he kept going. They reached the docking bay where the Wanderer was being kept. It was guarded by a dozen pirates. Too many for Katie to handle alone. Then Sayla stepped forward. "No," Danny said weakly. "Sayla, stay back." But Sayla was not surrendering this time. Her scales seemed to darken. Her claws extended. And she made a sound that was pure Krithani. A hunting cry. A challenge. The pirates froze. They had forgotten what they were dealing with. Sayla was young, but she was still a predator. She was still the daughter of Vorax the Unbroken. She attacked. It was not graceful. She was wounded and tired and small, but she was fast. Faster than anything the pirates had ever seen. She took down 3 of them before they could react. Katie and Sam used the distraction to handle the rest. When it was over, Sayla was breathing hard. There was blood on her claws. She looked at her hands like she was seeing them for the first time. "I fought," she said quietly. "For them. I fought for humans." Danny touched her shoulder. "You saved us. Thank you." They got onto the Wanderer. Katie ran to the cockpit and started the engines. Sam helped Danny into a chair. Sayla refused to leave Danny's side. The ship roared to life. Katie flew them out of the docking bay, through the pirate fleet, and into open space. The pirates tried to follow, but the Wanderer was faster than it looked. Katie knew how to push the old ship to its limits. Behind them, Driss screamed orders at his crew. But it was too late. His prize was gone. Katie set course for Krithani space. It was the only safe place now. Nowhere else would protect them from the pirates. "Are you sure about this?" Sam asked. "No," Katie admitted. "But we have no choice." They flew for 2 days. Danny drifted in and out of consciousness. Katie did what she could for his wounds, but he needed proper medical care. He needed a real hospital. She was not sure he would survive much longer. Sayla stayed with him the whole time. She held his hand with her small claws. She talked to him in her own language, words that humans could not understand. But the meaning was clear. Stay alive. Please stay alive. On the third day, they reached the Crethony border. The response was immediate. 20 warships surrounded them. Each one was massive, designed for destruction. The Wanderer looked like a toy compared to them. A voice came through the communications. It was deep and cold. Unknown vessel. You have entered Crethony space. Identify yourself or be destroyed. Katie's hands were shaking, but she kept her voice steady. This is the human vessel. Wanderer. We have Sayla, daughter of Vorax the Unbroken. She is alive. We are returning her to her family. Silence. A long, terrible silence. Then another voice came through. This one was even deeper, even more powerful. This is Vorax. Prove your words. Katie looked at Sayla. The child understood. She walked to the communication panel and spoke in her own language. She spoke for a long time. Katie could not understand the words, but she could hear the emotion in them. Fear, relief, love. When Sayla finished, there was another silence. Then Vorax spoke again. Hold your position. I am coming personally. 30 minutes later, a shuttle attached to the Wanderer. The door opened, and Vorax the Unbroken stepped onto the human ship. He was enormous. Even by Crethony standards, he was huge. His scales were black as space. His eyes burned with intelligence and power. He wore no weapons. He did not need any. He was a weapon. Behind him came 4 elite guards and an old Crethony in robes. This was Elder Morthak, the ancient war priest who had served Vorax's family for generations. Vorax's eyes found Sayla immediately. For one moment, his face changed. The fierce predator became a father. He opened his arms, and Sayla ran to him. He held her tight, his huge body curled around her small one. Then he saw Danny. Danny was barely conscious. He was sitting in a chair, kept upright only by straps. His body was broken. His face was ruined. He looked like a dead man who had forgotten to stop breathing. Vorax set Sayla down and walked toward Danny. Katie moved to block him, but one look from Vorax stopped her. This was not a creature anyone could fight. This is the human, Vorax said. It was not a question. Sayla stepped forward. Father, he saved me. He found me on the moon when I was dying. He took the poison of my claws and still carried me to safety. He protected me from the pirates. They tortured him, Father. They hurt him so badly. And he never told them where I was hiding. He would have died before he let them take me. Vorax looked at Danny for a long moment. His expression was impossible to read. Is this true, human? Danny opened his eyes. It took all his remaining strength. She was hurt. She was alone. She was just a kid. I could not leave her. You knew what she was. What we are. You knew we are hunters. Killers. Your enemy. I know. Danny's voice was barely a whisper. But that did not matter. She needed help. Vorax turned to Elder Morthak. They exchanged words in their own language. The old priest looked at Danny with an expression of wonder. Then Vorax made a decision. Bring the human to my ship. My healers will save his life. He looked at Katie and Sam. You will come too. You are under my protection now. Katie stared at him. Protection? We are human. We are your prey. Vorax's eyes met hers. My daughter says you are worthy. That is enough. He picked up Danny as gently as a parent holding a child. Come. We have much to discuss. Are using. Crossed. They followed him onto the Crethony ship. And for the first time in history, humans walked freely among the galaxy's greatest predators. The universe was about to change. Danny woke up in a bed that was too big for him. The room around him was dark and vast. The ceiling was so high he could barely see it. Everything was built for creatures much larger than humans. He felt like a child in a giant's house. He tried to sit up and found that he could. The pain was still there, but it was distant now. Someone had healed him. Someone had saved his life. A door opened, and Katie walked in. She looked tired, but relieved. "You are awake," she said. "Finally. You have been sleeping for 4 days. 4 days? Where are we?" "We are on Vorax's flagship. His healers worked on you for hours. They said you should have died. They said no creature should have survived what those pirates did to you." She sat down beside his bed. "They also said they have never seen anyone fight so hard to stay alive." Danny thought about that. "Where is Sayla?" "She has been here every day. She only leaves when her father makes her." "She was here an hour ago." Danny smiled. It hurt his face, but he did it anyway. "She is a good kid. She is a Krathani, Danny, an apex predator, the daughter of the most feared warrior in the galaxy. She is also a good kid." Katie shook her head. "I do not understand you." "I never have." That evening, guards came to Danny's room. They told him that Vorax wanted to see him. They told him to come to the Hall of Fangs. Katie and Sam came with him. The guards led them through the huge ship, past corridors filled with Krathani warriors. Every one of them stopped to stare at the humans. No one had ever seen their kind walk freely among the Krathani before. The Hall of Fangs was the most sacred place on the ship. It was where the Krathani kept the trophies of their greatest victories. Weapons taken from fallen enemies, flags from conquered worlds, bones of those who had dared to challenge them. No prey species had ever entered this hall and lived. Danny walked in anyway. The hall was filled with Krathani. Hundreds of them. The entire war council had gathered. They stood in silence, watching the humans with eyes that held 1,000 years of hunting instinct. At the far end of the hall, on a throne made of stone, sat Vorax the Unbroken. Beside him stood Elder Morthak. And next to them, small and serious, stood Sayla. Danny walked forward. His legs were weak, and every step was an effort. But he kept walking until he stood before the throne. Vorax looked down at him. "Human, Danny Cole. You have healed well. Thanks to your healers. They tell me you are lucky to be alive. They tell me the damage to your body was severe." Vorax leaned forward. "Why did you let them hurt you so badly? You could have told them where my daughter was hiding." The pain would have stopped. Danny met his eyes. It was hard to do. Vorax's gaze was like staring into a sun. "I could not do that. She trusted me. I made her a promise. A promise to a Krathani? We are your enemies. We have hunted your kind for generations. She was not my enemy. She was a scared child who needed help." The hall was completely silent. Every Krathani was listening. Vorax stood from his throne. He walked down the steps until he stood directly in front of Danny. The Supreme Alpha was 3 times Danny's size. He could have killed the human with a single blow. "My daughter has told me everything," Vorax said. "She told me how you found her, how you carried her, even as my poison burned through your blood, how you taught her games and told her stories, how you fought an army to protect her." His voice grew quieter. "She told me that when the pirates were hurting you, you never begged for yourself. You only begged them to leave her alone." Danny said nothing. There was nothing to say. "I have lived for over 200 years, Vorax continued. "I have conquered worlds. I have killed more enemies than I can remember. I have seen every kind of courage and every kind of cowardice. But I have never seen what you did." He looked at Danny with something that might have been confusion. "Why? Why would a prey species sacrifice itself for a predator?" Danny thought about the question. He thought about the moon and the crashed ship. He thought about Sayla, small and scared, lashing out with her claws. He thought about the pirates and the pain and the dark cell where he had waited to die. "Where I come from," Danny said slowly, "we have a word. We call it love. It means that some people matter so much that you would do anything to protect them. It does not matter if they are strong or weak. It does not matter if they are your species or another. When you love someone, you protect them, even if it costs you everything." Elder Morthak stepped forward. His old voice filled the hall. There is an ancient prophecy among our people. It says that one day, a creature will come who will defeat the Krithani. Not through claws, not through conquest, but by showing us something we have forgotten. Something our warrior culture lost long ago. He turned to look at Sayla. Child, what did the humans show you? Sayla walked forward. She stood between her father and Danny. Looking at them both, they showed me that protecting the weak is not weakness, she said. Her voice was clear and strong. They showed me that true strength is not about what you can destroy. It is about what you choose to protect. They showed me. She paused, searching for words. They showed me that love is stronger than fear. The hall erupted in whispers. The Krithani had no word for love. The concept was alien to them. But they could see it. They could see it in the way Sayla looked at Danny. They could see it in the way Danny had fought and suffered for a child who was not his own. Vorax raised his hand, and the hall went silent. He looked at Danny for a long moment. Then he did something that no Krithani had ever done in 10,000 years of recorded history. He knelt. The supreme alpha of the Krithani, the most feared predator in the galaxy, went down on one knee before a human. For 10,000 years, Vorax said, we have been the strongest. We have conquered. We have dominated. We have believed that power comes from the ability to destroy. He looked up at Danny. You have shown us that we were wrong. You have shown us a different kind of strength. A strength we did not know existed. He stood and turned to face his people. Today, everything changes. The Krithani will no longer hunt humans. From this day forward, humans are not our prey. They are our allies, our equals. He looked back at Danny. And this human, Danny Cole, will forever be remembered as the one who taught the galaxy's strongest predators what true power means. The hall was silent. Then, one by one, the Krithani began to kneel. First the War Council, then the warriors, then every single Krithani in the Hall of Fangs, all of them kneeling before a wounded cargo captain who had simply refused to abandon a scared child. Danny did not know what to say. He looked at Katie and Sam. They were staring with their mouths open. Sayla walked to Danny and took his hand. Her small claws were gentle. Thank you, she said in her careful human words. For everything. Danny smiled at her. Any time, kid. Later, after the ceremony was over and the alliance was official, Danny sat with Sayla in a quiet room. She was teaching him a Krithani game. He was losing badly. You know, Danny said, when we first found you, I had no idea things would turn out like this. How did you think they would turn out? I thought I would probably die. I thought you would probably die. I thought maybe nobody would ever know what happened. Sayla looked at him with her big eyes. Then why did you save me? Danny thought about it. Because it was the right thing to do. Because you needed help. Because... He laughed softly. Because I guess I am not very smart. Sayla smiled her strange Krithani smile. My father says you are the smartest creature he has ever met. Unquote. Your father is wrong. He is never wrong. She held up the game pieces. Do you want to play again? Danny looked at the pieces. He had lost 5 games in a row. He would probably lose 5 more. Sure, he said. Deal me in. Outside the window, the stars shone bright. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was learning that the Krithani had knelt before a human. They were learning that everything had changed. And in a quiet room on a giant ship, a cargo captain and a predator's daughter played cards together. And that was enough. That was more than enough.